Bills.
Jump. Well, what is going on, everybody? Welcome everybody into the Hump Day Hotline on the Buffalo Rumblings Vidcast Network, presented by Picasso's Pizza. Treat yourself to the most flavorful pizza on game day. Picasso's, we are Buffalo Pizza, shipping local and nationwide. Order online at picassospizza.net.
Hump Day!
My name is Hump Day, apparently. My name is Joe Miller. I'm one of the hosts of this here show. You can find me on Twitter, Joe Miller Wired. Sitting next to me is...
Jay Smith the King. This time I figured it out. You wanted me to say it. Normally, you just like, I don't know. Should I say it? Should I jump in there? Or is he going to introduce me? I got it this time. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? It's your boy, Jay Smith the King, here with your man, the voice, the smooth, buttery voice, Joe Miller. What's going on, man?
I'm doing good. So I've been in Canada for the last couple of days, and I'm home and excited to sleep in my own bed, and got to rewatch the game finally because I went to bed at, I don't even know what it was. Was it 2:30 in the morning on Monday morning, right? And then I had to get up and head to Canada. And I was like, I'm just going to rewatch the game. Like, I put it on my phone while I'm driving, because then I can hear it and like look down just if I want to on NFL Plus. As soon as you cross the Canadian border, NFL Plus does not work anymore. So I was like, son of a. So I did not get to rewatch. Yeah, what's that?
I got to give you a link.
there's always a link. So I got home today, ate dinner with the fam, watched the game back real quick. And it was great, but go ahead.
No, Elliot is working. He's watching while he's at work at the dispensary. I'm just trying to figure out why this is the first time I'm hearing Elliot working at a dispensary. This is the issue. I'm a little disappointed in our friendship, Elliot. Need those free samples.
I can't. I didn't know either. Otherwise, I would have told you. I don't know, but anyways, that's amazing. But no, things are good. I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to be here with you. Jerry O filled in magnificently for you last week. I love that guy. Why don't you, real quick, if you want to, and he talked about it last week, but talk real quick just about what's coming to Buffalo Rumblings Vidcast Network.
It's starting tomorrow. Tomorrow they will be going live. I believe they're starting at 8 p.m., maybe 9 p.m. If one of the co-hosts are in the comments, please correct me on the time. But they're going to be going live. Brand new show on the Buffalo Rumblings Vidcast Network. 3-man rush with my man, the big Jerry O. It's going to be my man, Colt Schroeder and Sarah Larson. It's about to go down. It's going to be one of these shows. They're going to be talking about college football. We'll get some UB talk in. Going to get some Syracuse talk in. They're going to talk about the Bills. Just a lot of good stuff in this show. And then there's a lot of good content coming. Actually, we're going to work on building up the vidcast side of things. So in the next month or two, look for a few shows to be added to the vidcast network. But the very, very first one that we're adding is going to be the 3-man rush. And I can't wait for it. It's going to be a lot of, Sarah says 9 p.m. They'll be starting at 9 p.m. Eastern time. So awesome. Get ready for it. Going live. It's going to be dope.
Excellent. Super excited about that. And yes, welcome to everybody that's in the comment section. You are tuned into the Hump Day Hotline. To everybody in podcast form listening to us on what would be Victory Thursday, Victory Friday. Everybody's got you. That's funny. We are Super Chat Live. So please like, subscribe, whatever platform you are listening or watching on. And then, yes, if you want to really grab our attention during this show, please do us a favor. Jump over to YouTube, Super Chat us. And if you have not yet joined us live, ever, please, on some Wednesday evening, jump on with us and hang out with us and hang out with the comment sections. But let's what do you say we get this thing kicked off? And we'll get this kicked off right here. And I'm going to take a little bit of a twist. Or are you going to say something?
No, Chris Janke and Brian Bowers were saying that they're next on the network. I'm like, Chris, call me. Chris called me. But yeah, let's get to it, man.
Brian's got bars too. So he was a staple for the Time to Shine program I had last year. So he can bring some content, bro. So so I just want to twist. I don't want to get super deep into the actual acquisitions. I want to tease you a little bit, and I want to just wet the taste buds. Big Baller Bean making buzzer beater trades at the deadline yesterday and several roster moves. The question that I have for you is this: had he done nothing, would you have been okay?
I would have been fine. I think I was one of the few people that actually posted and said, like, if Brandon Bean did nothing, I think I would have been satisfied, because it's just, I understand that in the moment, in the season, at the trade deadline, it's fun. It's fun to talk about things, and you want to feel like one of the teams that are relevant on that day, because every team is making trades. Everybody and all the contenders are looking to make improvements to their rosters. But I'm gonna just tell you, Brandon Bean did all of this stuff in the offseason. So, like, the reason why the Dolphins were looking to improve and they signed Chubb is because we signed Von Miller back in the offseason. The reason why, we can go through all of the trades around the NFL, but the reason why these teams in the AFC were looking to make these moves is because they're looking to catch up with the Buffalo Bills and with the Kansas City Chiefs.
And the NFC, the Eagles, same thing.
Absolutely.
Eagles are preparing to face either the Bills or the Chiefs, and they're out there going and getting talent. Yeah, yep, for sure.
100%. So, yeah, I would have been perfectly fine if we wouldn't have made a move. But I will tell you, with the few transactions, I mean, we made a couple trades, but then there were transactions as well. With the transactions we made, some were very encouraging, some were bittersweet, and then others were, I had a couple questions about. But at this moment, right now, as of Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern time, I'm excited.
Yeah, I've got those transactions. I'll actually read them to you just after I give kind of what my thoughts. I'm in the same camp you are. I think this team is incredibly good. Best team in football. I think we've got the best quarterback in football. And when you say that, you don't have to qualify it or have it contextually mean he does everything better than every other guy. No, it means when you put him as a unit, who Josh Allen is as a complete player, his leadership, his ability to throw the ball, his ability to run the ball, his ability to work off script, out of structure, everything that you think about, from his command in the huddle to his command in the locker room. I feel like we have the best quarterback in the NFL. That doesn't mean that there aren't guys out there that can throw the football better. My God, that throw that Aaron Rodgers threw 60 yards down the field, it was incomplete. What a beautiful pass. Like, when I was in the stands, I looked at Kenna and I was like, I can't believe how beautiful he throws a football. And when I watched it earlier today, I'm totally rabbit trailing. I rewound it like 4 times just to watch him release it and chuck it and watch the ball go, because he throws such a beautiful football. It's ridiculous. But anyways, for me, yeah, I'm in the same spot. I would not have been angry, upset at all if they didn't make a move. And yes, it would have put us in a situation, in a position of, being a little bit vulnerable if something were to happen to Devin Singletary or James Cook, and you get a little bit light in the running back room. Yes, Duke Williams is still on the practice squad, and Duke Williams is an accomplished NFL player, but there's just some spots. Safety is a growing concern. So the moves that they made, super happy about, but I would not have been upset. I would not. What are the comment people saying just about that? Just being upset or not? Are they responding at all?
Well, Daryl says nothing would have been fine for him. The Bills are the hunted now, and the hunters are the ones that needed to make the big moves, and I agree with that. Ralph says Big Baller Bean just couldn't help himself, and I agree with that. I think, it's one of those things where, whether it was small moves to kind of fill in depth, or if it was a big move that, depending on who people considers big moves, I just think Brandon Bean he's addicted to improvements. He's one of those guys that he can't sit back and even if it's perfectly fine, I feel like he's like, yeah, it's perfectly fine, but I can find a way to make it even better. And that's who Brandon Bean is. The real Chris Jenke says, judging by Bean's presser, it sounded like he was going hard for safety help. Said he looked at about 10 guys at the deadline. So again, you got different ways to look at this, but it does seem like he just wanted to make improvements and add depth just in case we saw any more injuries, because now the safety position coming into the season, it was one of the positions that I was like, man, you have no weakness back there, you keep that solidified, and now halfway through the seasson it's a weakness because of injury. So absolutely.
Chris Jenke is accurate. I meant Duke Johnson, not Duke Williams. So I misspoke a little too fast. So to your point, just about the actual move. So on the last day of before the trade deadline, Brandon Beane, the Buffalo Bills, acquired Nyneim Hines, which we're going to talk a lot about, from the Colts for Zack Moss, the 6th-round pick. They acquired safety Dean Marlowe, former Buffalo Bill Dean Marlowe, from the Falcons in exchange for 2023 7th-round pick. They activated Tre'Davious White from the PUP, which means, and all signs are pointing that he's going to play this weekend. We can talk about that later. I've got a comment in there for that. They reinstated Xavier Rhodes to the practice squad. So I don't know what his fit is. We can go through these one by one in a second. They released defensive tackle Brandon Bryant, as well as Isaiah Hodgins, who has been picked up at this point by the New York Giants. And they also released cornerback Jordan Miller from the practice squad. So they were a very, very busy front office yesterday on Tuesday, being that this show is being recorded on Wednesday. But that being said, why don't we start right at the top? And that is with the Bills' newly acquired running back Nyneim Hines, who we got from the Colts. And I don't know if it was last year or the year before. I was screaming in the microphone, somebody bring me Nyneim Hines. Like, this is even my McKenna was like, you called it, Dad. I was like, I didn't really call it, but I've been wanting this kid for a while. What are your first thoughts? You're muted.
My bad. I was coughing. Rookie move right there. But I think my first thought obviously was I had questions, and obviously I got yelled at by a good portion of Bills Mafia for questioning the I guess the genius and big baller bean that we have. But I think it's fair, and I think it's healthy sometimes to ask questions. It doesn't mean that I don't trust him. It doesn't mean that he's not great and he hasn't turned his franchise around. But sometimes there are just questions, and I think Hines is a great player. I think he's super talented. I think it's unfortunate for him being in Indianapolis, sitting behind somebody like Jonathan Taylor, because it's like, for instance, it's like now I don't think Case Keenum is a comparable talent to it, but sitting behind Josh Allen, you just won't ever see the field. You won't get reps. You won't get any. If you have improved as a quarterback, it's not necessarily the best time to put out, tape, because you're sitting behind Josh. It just won't happen. So when you're sitting behind somebody like Jonathan Taylor, you can't see all of the skills and you can't see all the talent that somebody like Hines has. My question, there were two reasons why I asked the question. The first one is there's still a fan side of me. So as much as we do these podcasts and as much as I, whatever it is that you think I do for Buffalo Rumblings, there's a side of me that's a fan. And when the Buffalo Bills are linked with, well, hold on, Joe. I hear a little bit of feedback. I hear myself. Do you have like a monitor on?
No, I don't hear anything.
I hear a monitor. You don't have a laptop or anything on?
Nope.
Okay. Well, we'll figure that out in a moment. But, well, no, it's okay. Either way, when you're linked with talents like Kareem Hunt, I don't hear it anymore once you muted yourself. You'll no say. But when you're linked with talent like Kareem Hunt, or when you're linked with talent like Alvin Kamara, who obviously we were rebuffed, or we didn't hear. Brandon Beane said today that he didn't even hear anything back. But when those are the rumors that are out there, as a fan, you're like, oh my God, could you imagine Alvin Kamara with Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs and Gabriel Davis and Dawson? Could you imagine that as your offense? That's the first question. It's like, Hines? It's like, come on, man. We were linked to Alvin Kamara, and now you're talking about Hines. So that was the reason for the first question. But then secondly, it was also, if you just look at who he is as a player, the things that he's very good at, the things that his profile says that he's amazing at, I feel like that's all the things that we drafted Cook for. So it was just one of those things where it's like, look, I'm enjoying to see like this development that we get out of Cook now. Cook has been performing very well. He's been now from the very first game of the season, we can't say that. He has a couple drops. He had a fumble, but more games go along. He's getting more comfortable in the offense. He's making bigger plays. This past Sunday, he made 2 big plays. I'm looking forward to seeing him continue to develop. So my initial concern was, hey, are we taking snaps away from our rookie? I want to see this guy take over the offense because he's fast, he's quick, he does some things that the other running backs don't do. It was nothing about Moss. I'm okay with Moss being gone. I love Moss, but I'm okay with him being gone. He didn't add value to the team to me. So that was my questioning for it. But I'm also very happy. I think everybody in this room and everybody who watches Code of Conduct and everybody who follows me on Twitter understands that I haven't been comfortable with the punt and kick return position since Andre Roberts left.
It's true.
So I think I might be buying a jersey soon. I'll say it like that.
And it's going to have the number 20 on it. The two numbers 2 and 0. And I totally get that as far as what you're saying. You know, Brandon Beane's presser was interesting in as much as he said that, you know, there's guys that we were linked to, but we never made calls because the scouts, it's their job to make a call and find out if there's anything. And even though nobody calls back, we weren't really rebuffed. I never made an offer. It's just us doing our due diligence, which I think is interesting. Now, we can believe a measure of it or not believe or choose to not believe. I do believe, because then he also threw out there, you know, unlike with Christian McCaffrey. You know, when you hear Christian McCaffrey's on the trade block, it behooves me to make a phone call to at least find out, like, well, what are we talking about? And as much as I never made an offer on that, you know, we were still, you know, have the lines of communication were open, right? And then he ended up being too expensive. Nyneim Hines, to me, I don't feel like we have that player on the roster in James Cook, because Nyneim Hines has, and it was funny because I was one of the ones that didn't understand the phrase. And now that we've seen him play a little bit, and I don't want to say it's not correctable, but one of the things on James Cook's scouting report was he's not good with contact balance. And I remember when we drafted him and watching his highlight reels from college being like, well, how can you say that? He's rarely ever touched before he's running full speed. Like, he's never touched in the hole. And normally if like he's running full speed when somebody like cuts his legs out, I don't think that necessarily translate into being bad or having bad contact balance. Well, we've seen him now a little bit, and he does struggle in that area a little bit. Nyneim Hines has, in my opinion, really, really good contact balance, and he's just as fast. The question is, for me, is what does this mean for next year? So I like what it gives us this year. I'm a little confused, to your point. And Brandon Beane addressed it a little bit in his press conference, or he didn't address it. He said it with Moss here. He never got his shot because we wanted to get Devin his touches. He had to be lathered up, was the word that he used. And then we obviously don't want to take away the opportunities from James Cook. And then it's like, well, isn't Nyneim Hines going to be in the same exact position as Zack Moss? So like, I think there's some questions, to your point, that have to be answered there. I don't know what the answer is. But I think this has potential, ramifications for next year. As we know, Devin Singletary, his contract is up this year. I think this puts us in a situation where that's your two-headed monster going into next year, Cook and Nyneim Hines. So, yeah, super chat.
I agree with you. Before we read the super chat, I agree with you. I do think this spells either hey Devin, if you're going to sign back with us, then that means you're going to be it's going to be a lower contract.
Right.
You can come back, try to get a Super Bowl again next year, or you see I said again. You hear what I did there? Get a Super Bowl again, or good luck to you. We'll bring you back if it makes sense. Like Brandon Beane said, like we'll bring you back in the future if it makes sense.
Yeah.
And I think they look for somebody in the third or fourth round of the draft next year. Shout out to Jessica. She says, please remember with the super chat. She said, please remember Hines has been returning in a dome. I get that point. I don't think it matters as much as it does to like a quarterback. When you're returning punts, I mean, yeah, you want a clean field and all of that stuff, but I don't think it'll matter when it comes to this. I think. What do you think about that?
He addressed it today in his press conference. They asked him specifically that question, and he said, well, I didn't have any trouble last year in the stadium when the wind was blowing, whatever it was, 35 or 40 miles an hour.
He goes, kicked our ass.
Yeah. He's like, I caught punts that day. And he said that he said in Indianapolis, they practice outside all the time, like before they're going to have a weather game. So if they're going to be outdoors, if they're playing, the Giants, or they're playing the Bills, or they're playing KC, they practice outside, which is smart. And he said it was 2 weeks ago, the wind was blowing 20, 25 miles an hour, and he was out there catching punts, and he didn't have any trouble. He was very confident in his own abilities. He was like, that's not going to be a problem. Like, this is what I do. Like, he knows, he knows he's here to do that. Like, that's, I love it. One of the reasons I'm here, or one of the reasons he's here. So, and maybe that's the answer. Maybe they're not looking for him to come in and displace Devin Singletary's touches or James Cook's touches. Maybe they're looking for him to come in and be, God, I hate to say it, another slot, because it's not like they don't have enough slot receivers as it is, but kind of live in that gadget. They've got 5.
Good ones.
Good ones is a different conversation, but live in kind of that gadget space, right? So he can do a lot of different things. I'm excited about the player. I'm excited about him being on the team. I'm excited about you potentially buying a jersey. That's really cool. But I just think he brings as much as he to me, he seems more, if you took James Cook and Devin Singletary and put them together, he's more similar to that than he is to just James Cook, in my opinion. And I could be wrong. It's pure speculation. Have I watched all of his games? No. Have I watched a handful enough over the last 3 years to be like, that kid's really fast and really good? in changeup, right off pace to Jonathan Taylor. Now, obviously, Jonathan Taylor isn't going in front of him. He's not the changeup back. So we'll see. But I'm excited.
Can I say something that we're not even asking me about, but we're talking about Hines, and then you were talking about this slot position, and I know I'm going to get yelled at because homeboy scored a touchdown Sunday, but can I please say something?
You can.
I am so tired of Isaiah McKenzie in this offense and on special teams. And actually, my man brought up a question. I got a question for you guys. Do you think we should give more snaps to Shakir over McKenzie? Like, I love Lil Dirty, but I'm getting enough, or I'm not getting enough out of him, and I feel like the rookie would do wonders. I'll answer that as far as Shakir, but I also feel like, you know what? Let's put Hines in that slot position. You know, Brandon Beane specifically made point. He made a point today to say he has the skill set to be in the slot. And when I tell you, I get it. He scored a touchdown. Lil Dirty scored a touchdown. Okay. He also freaking tried to reverse the field and almost lost 17 yards on a doggone play that he should have just went down. What are we doing, man? In the Kansas City game, he drops a touchdown in the end zone on 4th and 2. I can go back throughout the season. I can go back to last season. I sent you and Bruce a video from the Colts game that we were talking about, where he fumbled the ball with nobody tackled him but the dirt. The doggone turf tackled him.
We were there together, weren't we?
I'm tired. Not that game. I wasn't there when Jonathan Taylor scored 5 touchdowns on us. Right, I wasn't at that one. But man, I'm so tired of it. And listen, I know we love him. He's the most interesting man in Buffalo. He can dance and he can sing in a choir, and he has a barbecue restaurant. And listen, man, I want a Super Bowl. And I'm tired. Like, man, y'all talk about Sugar High Josh. When are we gonna start saying Sugar High McKenzie or something? What is happening, man? What is happening? I'm so tired. He scored a touchdown. He gave us 6 points. Okay. I'm so tired of Isaiah McKenzie in this offense and on special. I'm so tired, Joseph.
I hear you. I have refrained from saying anything because the last time I said something, I tweeted, I've seen enough of 80 in this offense, and then he broke his ankle, like literally like 4 plays later. And I was like, okay, I'm not saying anything about that kind of stuff anymore. I don't know where I'm at. I expect and anticipate when he gets the football, he's going to do good things. We've seen him do good things in the past, and maybe I'm the eternal optimist, which most people would probably tell you that I'm a negative person, but maybe I'm an eternal optimist when it comes to the Buffalo Bills. I think the Bills are making good moves, and I think that anything and everything is possible. We've seen this coach and this staff put him on the pine in the past. I think that if there's players out there outplaying him, Shakir is becoming a very reliable receiver and a route runner. Nyneim Hines is clearly, an accomplished, or can at least play in the slot. We've seen Stephon Diggs in the slot a lot this year. Anything is possible. But at the end of the day, this team is going to roll weapons at you. They're just going to keep rolling guys at you, and that's what they've done, and that's what they're doing. James Cook could probably play out of the slot, right?
He could, and that would be a better option than Isaiah McKenzie.
James has spoken.
I'm just saying, look, I get it. You don't want to speak because last time Crowder broke his foot or ankle or whatever it was. So I'm with you. No, I'm with you. So I don't want to, I'm not wishing injury on nobody. I don't want any of our players or anybody on another team hurt, but damn it. God, Joe, come on, man. Come on, man. And I know, I've been saying, okay, because this is the honest to God truth. I've been kind of critical of him for a while now when people have been saying that he's going to be great. So then, the punt and kick return position, when he first won that back after Andre Roberts left, I'm like, oh my God, this is going to be a nightmare. We're going to miss Andre Roberts. And everybody's like, no, Little Dirty is going to be good. He wasn't good in Denver.
Right.
Then he wasn't good in Buffalo, which is why we went and got Andre Roberts. Right. Then Andre Roberts left. We gave him the job back. He wasn't good then. Now we get, and you want to put why?
Yep. No,
why?
I totally hear you. I don't have an answer. I don't, but I would tell you, I mean, we'll see. I don't know that I have an answer for you that's going to necessarily quench the thirst that you have for this topic, but we'll see. I mean, there's an aspect too. He has at times hurt this team more than he's helped it, for sure. Right.
Aspect of sometimes he has.
Just trying to be nice.
When you when you go to like like you're like about to break up with somebody or you're about to quit a job and then you go to like a counselor and they're like, well, let's do this the exercise, let's weigh the pros and the cons, let's weigh the good and the bad. When you write a list of the good that Isaiah McKenzie brings to this team, I can think of let's see, locker room presence. He's a good teammate, people love him, right? He's good around the city, people love him in Buffalo. Right, he has a good. Okay, now let's add up a list of the things that are the cons. I'm not gonna do it on the show because I don't want it to seem like I'm just sitting here like hating on the dude. But the thing is, I got to be honest about it, man. Like when guys consistently play well, I praise them. When guys play bad, I have to be honest. I can't just sit here and love on them because they're a Buffalo Bill. That's not how you get better. It's just not how you get better. And this dude, Isaiah McKenzie, he is one of the most fun people that we've had on the team since Stevie Johnson.
Yeah.
Like this dude is one of the most entertaining guys in the locker room. He's great. Sarah, shout out to Sarah. He's great at karaoke. Absolutely. He's wonderful at karaoke, but so is Deion Dawkins. And I tell you what, he's playing well at left tackle.
Yeah.
You give me a
well,
there's been so many plays. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Let's lead into something that's not a topic for the show. It has been all but almost confirmed on Twitter from several sources that it's a done deal that OBJ is coming to Buffalo end of November when his rehab is done. That OBJ is going to be a Buffalo Bill on an highly incentive laden contract, 2-year contract, to effectively put the Buffalo Bills over the top. So I think that answers some of the question that you have, right? So, I mean, that could be one of those things. You've got to expect that if OBJ is in Buffalo, that, it's Davis, Diggs, OBJ, right? Those are the three guys that are going, and you're probably flip-flopping the three of them in that slot position and making the world a complete and utter nightmare for any defensive backfield, whether they're playing, straight up or playing nickel or playing dime. The Bills have the ability. They've got the weapons that they have and that they have amassed are pretty incredible. It's hard to believe what Brandon Beane has put together in this roster. Does that mean that everybody's a superstar? No. Are there guys on this football team making mistakes? Yes. Are they hurting the team? Yes, at times. And it's not just McKenzie. There's other players as well. And one of them got traded, right, for Nyneim Hines. So, we're going to find out. We're going to find out in a couple short weeks, right? So we're going to find out in a couple short weeks. Let's move on to, the second acquisition that the Buffalo Bills made, which is that they brought back former Buffalo Bill Dean Marlowe, safety, for safety depth. They traded to the Falcons for a 7th-round pick, which means we don't have a 6th and a 7th next year. Somebody like Chris Janke, who's in the comments, please, I guess I could Google it. I'm interested in knowing what extra picks we had, and are we now devoid completely of a 6th and a 7th next year? So is the draft over for us right at round 5, or do we have extra picks there? I'll give you a shout out. First thoughts on that one. I like Dean Marlowe.
I love Dean Marlowe, but first, before I do that, I have to say hi to Jamie. I normally catch her first comment and say, hi, sis. Hi, Jamie. Hi, Jamie. I love and miss you. I love Dean Marlowe. Getting Dean Marlowe back is a big deal for a couple of reasons. One, I know you recall, but people in the comments, I'm not sure if everybody remembers, when he was here last, whenever he was called on to fill in for Micah Hyde or Jordan Poyer, it wasn't often because those dudes didn't get injured. But when we had to call on him, there was no drop-off. Zero drop off. You almost didn't even realize that somebody was out. That's how well he played in this system. And I know a lot of people think or thought that it's just a Sean McDermott, Leslie Frazier system. You can plug and play anybody. What we're seeing is, as much as I love Johnson and Hamlin, they are good and they're doing their job, but it is a drop off from Micah Hyde and Jordan Poyer.
Oh, for sure.
What this does, you're bringing a guy who's very familiar with the system. You're bringing a guy who's a vet who knows how to be a professional in this league, and somebody who does their job. When he was playing on his team, we had a really good defense. I think we were second. I think our defense was either second or fourth in the league the last year he was here. I am very, very happy. I think thankful for him. He was able to go and get some time as a starter in Detroit. He got his check, and look, good. Now you're back home where you're supposed to be. Come back.
Yeah, I like the move a lot. He clearly is not Jordan. He clearly is not Micah. That doesn't necessarily mean that there's a far drop off, but he's an upgrade over Jaquan Johnson and DeMar Hamlin. And the interesting thing is, in the game on Sunday when I was there, I was concerned. Poyer goes out, right, and they start gashing us with the run, like big time. And I began to have an unsettling feeling like, this isn't great to be putting this on tape. I was concerned about, at that point, Hamlin and Jaquan Johnson being on the field together. Deeply concerned as I'm just kind of sitting there and my knees bouncing, right? And just watching them rip off runs up the middle and expose us. Now, on the rewatch, because the rewatch is always important, we pulled the Indianapolis Colts Hurricane game again. They were gashing us, and the Bills refused to get out of the nickel 4-2. They stayed in it the whole game. They went big nickel the whole time, and the Green Bay Packers found success. Now, clearly, the Buffalo Bills were trying to keep Aaron Rodgers from doing Aaron Rodgers things. So I'm not sure how much we could take from that. So all that to say this, I can put my feelings about Jaquan Johnson and DeMar Hamlin aside. I don't think that they were necessarily the issue in that situation. However, I still like the move. I still like bringing in Dean Marlowe for the veteran presence, for the knowledge of the system, for all that stuff. Real quick, Chris Jenke said he just confirmed that we have our first, second, third, fourth, fifth, an extra fifth, but we don't from the Cody Ford trade, but we don't have a sixth or a seventh. And then Daryl Fletcher said that, all of those picks aren't making this roster anyway. Well, here's the thing. Dane Jackson is a seventh. Christian Benford is a sixth. So Isaiah Hodgins, who has been on this roster and just got plucked, was also a sixth. So Bean rolls those late. Those
fairness, Hodgins wasn't like, he was only on the active roster like twice.
Right. But I'm just saying, but my point is that Bean rolls the dice on players late in the round and hits boxcars.
He does.
Off.
Well,
Right.
And that was my point yesterday when I said we drafted Christian Benford with the 5th round pick, and then people was like, "Yeah, but we also drafted."
There's a sixth, fifth or sixth.
Sixth. That's what I meant. No, yesterday when we traded the 6 for Hines, and people were jumping on me. Like I said, it wasn't for me. It wasn't a question about who Hines was, but I think people undervalue draft picks when it comes to Brandon Beane and the Buffalo Bills, and I also think again it's okay to ask questions. Like it's okay to ask questions, but I'm okay with Brandon Beane having an extra 5th round pick. So technically we got 6 picks next year, and 2 being in the 5th. I think Brandon Beane does a great job. I think if I'm being honest, the round that I'm concerned with him missing on the most is the 2nd round. I feel like we missed on Cody Ford. We don't have to go back through all of them, but I feel like our first rounders overall, I think we've done a pretty good job since Brandon Beane has been here. I think we can be pretty happy with our first round draft picks. I think he's found some jewels in the 3rd. Some people might say now that yesterday we made that trade, Moss was a miss, but other than that, I think for the most part, those certain rounds, I think the 2nd round has been the most questionable.
Yeah, yes, AJ Epinesa, right? Boogie Basham, Cody Ford got moved. James Cook is number 4, and then who was number 5? Were we missing the one from the first year? Somebody's going to tell us who it was, but
somebody. He will.
He always knows. Regardless, to your point, like of all the picks, if there's one that it's like, what's happening here in this space? It's potentially that space. It doesn't mean that those like AJ Epinesa played a good game. Boogie Basham has been having a decent year. Cody Ford, we know what's going on there. He's now starting for the Cardinals, I believe, right? So after getting moved, and then James Cook is still a rookie, and it's still really, really early, but they didn't have a second in 2018. So he has drafted 4 second rounders, of which we've just named.
He would have told us. I told you.
Yep. So I've just named them all. But that's a valid point. That's a really, really good point. What else from the Bean presser grabbed your attention, if anything?
The way he talked about the rumors and the way he talked about the process in general of trades and scouting players. I think a lot of times, as fans, again, it's exciting to talk about the possibility of things, and it's exciting when your team is linked with rumors of other people and all that stuff. It's great. However, I like to caution people. Normally, when you're talking about the Buffalo Bills and Brandon Beane, if a move is to be made, if a player is being sought after, we really don't know about it. We really have no clue. Like, for instance, think about the Von Miller signing. Oh yeah, nobody had a clue about Von Miller. I remember we both were shocked. I'm like, what the hell is happening? Yeah. Like Von Miller, nobody had a clue. We were talking about the possibility of what I think I said, maybe Chandler Jones, and even though he was old, Von's older technically, but I'm looking around at the free agents for pass rushers, and I'm like, well, maybe. Yep. Nobody was thinking Von. Nobody. And then even Stephon Diggs, it happened so quickly, but when he tweeted out it's time for a new beginning or something like that, even then nobody was saying, yeah, Brandon Beane and the Buffalo Bills are linked in trade talks with Stephon Diggs and the Vikings. Nobody thought that. You just have to kind of remember who we are and who this front office is, and the way he addressed it. I was very happy he did, because he's like, look, sometimes I don't even get to talk to these guys, and we're linked to it because one of our scouts reached out to see if they're available before they even waste their time doing the research. I love that. I love that.
It's the leverage piece too. So, and Brandon Bean said that. So you've got a scout that reaches out and says, "Hey, we heard that Alvin Kamara, or your season is going this way, Denver Broncos. And I'm making this up, what does Jerry Jeudy look like for you in the future?" And then obviously maybe they're wanting to trade Jerry Jeudy, and then they use that as leverage to get a hold of another team and said, "Hey, the Buffalo Bills just called about Jerry Jeudy, so you might want to up whatever you were thinking." And that team might be a team like the Jets, right? That don't want the Bills to get better. And then it turns into that whole thing that we're talking about with OBJ. We need to go get OBJ so the Chiefs don't, right? So we got to protect ourselves from the Chiefs leveling up a little bit at wide receiver. No, it was a great press conference. I haven't gotten to Josh's today, but I did watch Nyneim Hines, and I was really impressed with just his enthusiasm, his excitement for being here, which obviously makes sense, but also his confidence in his skill set, in his ability to help this team. He said, you're talking about a guy that, is Michael Pitts is no slouch, right? And neither is Jonathan Taylor. So for him to basically, his first thoughts of the whole entire thing was like, everywhere I look is like a playmaker. Like everybody around here is really good. Like this offense, he's like, we should never lose. I was like, I like this guy.
Well, the thing, I know some people look at it differently, and as far as his skill set, I honest to God think that the type of skill set he brings, if they want to really push him as a running back, as opposed to putting him in that slot or using him as a punt kick return and using him all these different ways, he could very possibly take over the running back duties for this team, because he hits the whole heart. I don't know how much anybody really watches the Colts. I don't watch them as much as I used to, but I spent some time living there, so I kind of care about the Colts a little more than I want to admit on the show. So I get a chance to watch them often. He's talented. He's super talented, and he has great vision. He has great balance. He has great speed. I think
great speed.
He's the second fastest guy on this team now, behind, I know people won't believe me, but it's true, Taiwan Jones is still the fastest player on this football team. He's not going to get handoffs, though. He's not going to get handoffs. So, I think it's a great thing to see Brandon Bean really looking to, like last year, he kept saying speed, speed, speed.
Yep.
He hasn't gone away from that. He's adding speed. He's adding talent. He's adding guys that are good at yards after the catch. So I'm with it.
Awesome. Let's begin to transition to this week's game, starting with the injury report. And the injury report is out. And when you consider what happened, what did I miss?
It's like it's long again. Like, what the heck is going on? Like, it was clean last week, and all of a sudden it's 47 guys on the injury report again.
I actually spun it positive that there was a possibility that we could lose some guys for quite a bit of time. Obviously, Jordan Poyer's elbow. There's one report that came out from Ian Rappaport that was week to week. I think either coach or Bean said day to day. Matt Milano is day to day. Both did not practice, and then there's a bunch of vest ret days in there. But by and large, Spencer Brown is limited. Looks like he's going to be coming back. Tremaine Edmonds was limited with a heel, which is probably just a nagging thing. Daquan Jones, veteran rest day. Taiwan Jones knee did not participate. Cam Lewis forearm full participant, and then obviously Matt Milano. Von Miller had a vet rest day, but it's not terrible. There's a lot of names here, but by Friday this is going to be a third this long, don't you think?
I mean, well, the limiteds are good. Obviously, Tremaine is going to play. I know Spencer's going to play. I know Daquan's going to play. So, well, Spencer might not play because Questenberry, they just might not play him. But
right.
I know Tremaine and Daquan are going to play. Taiwan Jones, as much as I love him, he's a special teams guy, and I'm not, as long as it's not taken away from weapons for Josh. But Cam is playing. The issues that I'm having here is the did not practice from Matt Milano.
Mm-hmm.
That's I get it. So it's a shorter list than it looks, and I understand that it's vet rest and limited. So I get it, but Matt Milano, that's not a good injury to show up. And I don't know if that's just like, okay, he's sore, so we're just going to let him chill for the day or what. But no, I don't. That is one that it scares me. Jordan Poyer, I strongly believe he's probably going to miss this weekend, and very possibly next weekend. I don't know if he's going to miss just 1 or 2 games, but I think he's going to miss a couple of weeks here. But I don't like that. like at all. No, because Matt Milano was having he's having an all-pro type season.
He's having an all-pro type season. Absolutely.
So, and I know I give Tremaine love, and I showered Tremaine with love, and I don't speak much about Matt Milano, and it's not because I don't like Matt. Matt is having a phenomenal year. He's having one of the better linebacker seasons as a Buffalo Bill in history. Not recently. Like, this is one of the best linebacker years in history for a Buffalo Bill. So, like, him having an oblique injury and not practicing, that scares me.
Matt Milano, I'm gonna look it up. Matt Milano had his hands on 3 footballs on Sunday night. Could have intercepted 3, came away with 1. And the ball,
I think he had 2. I think that's second. I think the one they didn't give it to him. I didn't see it hit the ground, man. And I watched the film.
I was upset just because he's got 2 interceptions on the season. I was upset just because they were not giving us good replays in the stadium. Like,
no, they weren't.
It's Sunday night football. They had cameras stacked on top of cameras everywhere on the sidelines, and you can't give us anything but the behind the shot where the ball's blocked by his foot. Really?
Yeah, I really thought he caught that one, man. Honest to God.
Yeah, so that's my soapbox for the moment. But literally, he's had his hands on he could have 9 interceptions right now. He's just playing phenomenal, and he's around the ball. He's reading and reacting amazingly. But yes, to your point, the question is, where are the Jets, right? So, and we'll get to that in a second. More importantly than that, speaking of the injury report, Tre'Davious White is no longer on the injury report, and all expectations are that he's going to play. For me, I'm elated, and I'm elated, and at the same time, I'm vexed because I remember having Greg Thompson on my show in the offseason when Trey's contract was looming, and having conversations with him and how important he was to this defense. And the comment that Greg made was that Trey was going to get all the Pagula bucks. Like, he's going to get the contract that everybody wants him to get. The Bills are going to keep him, yada, 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 and how important he was, all that stuff. And then, like, he gets injured. And outside of one game last year, the Bills did a good job of hiding players in that defensive backfield. So far this season, and now you can say that, no, they just drafted 2 really great players in Kaiir Elam and in Christian Benford. Or is it a situation, it's just, I'm going on a road I don't want to go, because it's like, I want to see Tre'Davious White retire a Buffalo Bill, right? But so I'm excited to have him back, but I have this little bird in the side of my ear just telling me, as these contracts get bigger, as these players keep coming in, as we have more guys to sign, is this anyways, it's just food for a show in the offseason, something to think about. I think they limit him in this game. So I think that he gets reps, but I think they have him on a pitch count. The Bills are known for basically sprinkling guys in. It's never all right, year 4 go take 100% of the snaps. Let's go. Let's get it. So not to mention that
I hope they don't play him. I hope he don't see the field
for this week again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They probably will. I think you're right. I think they'll want to kind of get him in there and just to get him in a couple plays. But to be honest with you, I don't want to play him.
Yeah.
I don't want to play him at all. Like, we have turf too. We don't have natural grass. I don't want him coming back. It's a little different. I think it's a little bit better because they have the rubber matter in there, and it helps guys with. But I don't want him in New Jersey on that turf. I don't want the injury. It's different out there. Go look at the New York Giants injuries over the last several seasons and look at how many were ACL injuries, and it's just not fun in that stadium. Yeah. I don't want him there. So, but at the same time, I agree with you. I miss Trey. I miss his energy. His energy's affects. It's like he's infectious. Everything he does, it just excites the team. It excites the crowd. He even makes the referees laugh.
Yep.
So bring him back. I love him, but this week is one of those weeks that I'm just like, man, I don't want him to see the field at all.
I think he's got to play to get his win for the Vikings game, because if he's going to play and he's going to get a full load in the Vikings game, I think he's got to get a decent share to get his wind in his lungs. Like it's a different speed. It's just a different. Right. I mean, training camp is not preseason. Preseason is not the regular season. Like practice is not a game. Like, I think he's got to get out there and cut and turn and make sure that he's got it in his head. So when he's lining up against 2 in 2 weeks, Justin Jefferson,
I hope not. Again, he's not 100%. Even if he is not on the injury report, he suffered an ACL tear 1 year ago, and then you're going to bring him back, and one of his first assignments is going to be against a top 4 receiver in the NFL. Hell no. That's why we drafted, that's why we drafted the phenomenal rookie that we did. That's why we have, and hopefully Jordan Poyer is healthy at that point so our safeties can help. And that's why you bring back I do not want Trey to overextend himself and do too much too early and try to get that's not. I want him for the playoffs. Like, I get it. We want to have the phenomenal season where we go 16-1. We want to talk all the crap in the world, every fan base. That's cool. But I tell you what, if we take one more L, it's not the end of the world for me during the season. But if we take that L in the playoffs, I'm going to be really bitter. And I don't think anybody is ready for the code of conduct or Hump Day Hotline or the chop up or anything if the Buffalo Bills lose a game before the Super Bowl. I could even take a loss, and it's going to hurt. I could take a loss in the Super Bowl, but we got to get there. And if we lose in the playoffs, and if Trey is not right, I'm gonna tell you, y'all do not. Just unsubscribe from my show because y'all not gonna want to hear it. Y'all not gonna want to hear it if we lose in the playoffs and don't make it to the Super Bowl.
So it'll be the iMac rant times 10, probably.
No, the iMac rant. I was nice with that. You've heard me rant before about some things.
Oh yeah.
And the iMac one ain't touching it. The iMac one ain't touching it.
It's awesome just to know that he's coming back. Right. So he has been missed. Like you said, his personality on the field has been missed. He brings things to the field that no other player does. And it's just he's such an integral piece of not only that team, but this community. And it's just going to be awesome to have him back for sure. So Gerald Fletcher says keep him in bubble wrap. Absolutely. So let's look forward to the Jets. And this goes back to what you said earlier at the top of the show. And it reminded me of the time, I believe it was a Hump Day Hotline, and we were having a conversation. It was either the end of 2020 or the beginning of 2021 when I think it was the beginning of 2021, when we were still having conversations that went on this show. What did the Bills have to do to beat X team? And somebody jumped, and I don't remember who it was, and literally scolded me and said, when are we going to start asking what the other team has to do to beat the Bills? And it was literally a mental switch. It was like, oh, that's right. We're the good team. So that's the question that I'm kind of posing about the Jets. Like, what is their path to victory? We know that defensive line is good. We know Quinton Williams is having an incredible season. We also know that Zach Wilson is not ready for prime time. We also know that Breece Hall is done for the season. So Michael Carter's the guy that's back there. We know that their weapons from an offensive standpoint isn't great. We know that Sauce Gardner is playing like everything that he was advertised to be. Sauce Gardner right now is. Path to victory for the Jets?
I don't see one.
I don't either, but I was hoping for more from us than that.
Okay, I got you. Path to victory for the Jets.
They got to play keep away, right? So everybody's going to try to play keep away. They're going to try to keep the ball out of the Bills' hands because as much as the Packers were trying to play keep away, the Bills still put 21 on them pretty easy. Like in the first half, they're like, oh, there's 21 points. And now the Packers are thinking, we just got to make sure they don't put 50 on us. And that's why they started running the ball in the third quarter as much as they did. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. And then the thing is, and I get it, fans were upset because we allowed them to run. And no, the team doesn't say, okay, we're going to give up 150 yards on the ground. But at the same time, they're not going to get beat over the top. So the Bills have made up their mind. Okay, we're up. Josh threw a couple interceptions. You know what? Let's just go ahead and let this thing. We're just going to stop them from scoring. Let them run the ball. We'll stop them running the ball. Even then, I think if the Buffalo Bills this past Sunday wanted to shut down that team completely, we absolutely have the team to do it. We've seen it all year. Mm-hmm. Aaron Rodgers is the best thing that the Packers got, and we shut him down. And so that it is what it is. Now you fast forward to this weekend. Zach Wilson is no Aaron Rodgers. So even if Jordan Poyer doesn't play, I'm not worried about Zach Williams eating us alive in the passing game. Am I worried about James Robinson as a running back? I think he's talented. It's a very good move. Yeah, it was a very good move for them. It was a very good trade. When Hall goes down, that is absolutely the move you make if you still feel like you can win some games. Am I scared of the Jets? No. I think their record is better than they are. They won some games that you didn't expect them to win for whatever reasoning. I don't see it being an issue. I don't think that they're second in the AFC East. I still think the Patriots are better than them, which we saw this past week because they beat them. I still think, I think Miami's the second best team in the AFC East. So
I'm trying to block this spot, but I think somebody's already hid them. Yep, so I can't. No, I think 100%. I think you're right. And I forgot about Robinson coming over to them, and not that I was worried about that, but I completely forgot about that move that they made. One of the comments. So Quinn Williams is the concern, right? But we've already handled Aaron Donald in this season. Not that they're the same player, but they present similar issues. And then Chris Yankee in the comments is like, the way the Jets can win is by making it an ugly football game. And what's amazing to me about that is the Bills just played an ugly football team or an ugly football game and still won by, right? They won by double digits. Yeah. They didn't beat the spread, but they still won by double digits. And that's with they didn't play well in that second half for a number of reasons. The question is going to be, can an opponent like the Jets put an entire 4 quarters together to make the Bills do that? I just don't know, because there's a moment, we've seen it a couple times this year, and we've seen it a lot in the last several years, but specifically this year, where Josh Allen just decides and flicks the switch and takes over. That's it. We're done with this. I'm going to take over. He did it in the Ravens game, right? Mm-hmm. At the end, like there's just times when he's like, that's it. We're done playing around. Like I'm going to be Josh Allen, and I'm going to run the ball here, run the ball there, throw it over your head, like, and do the things I got to do to take over. I don't see a path to victory for the Jets. Clearly, it's an interdivisional game any given Sunday. The Bills, as much as people think it's a trap game, I don't see that either. The Jets they've got a winning record. They're right there. So, the Bills don't want to give that up. I don't think they're looking forward to the Vikings, but yeah, right. So,
well, hi, Mom, first. But
hi, Mom.
The way I see it, though, man. Okay, let's talk about Josh Allen for a second. You were just talking about how he takes over games, but let's take it a step back from that. When you look at Josh Allen, mm-hmm. and he says, "Wait, I played bad," or when something happens and he's not happy with his performance, typically the next game that we see him, he comes out to say, "All right, this is who the hell I am."
That's right.
I just don't think the Jets want that. They don't want to be the guys to be up next after Josh Allen throws 2 interceptions in one half. But unfortunately they are. And I just think we're going to come out and see Josh Allen be a dude that if you got him on your fantasy team, you're getting a W this weekend.
That's me. I have him on one of my fantasy teams.
Big dubs.
Big dubs.
Big dubs.
Dub club, as Joe Marino likes to say. I agree with you. It's going to be, I think Josh Allen continues his pace, and we can transition straight into just having a conversation about this week and game predictions and stat lines and all that stuff. And this is where we love to have those of you that are in the comment section right now, which there's a bunch of you, throw in what you think your stat line for Josh Allen is going to be this weekend, as well as your score prediction. The Bills come in, I believe they're already 12.5 point favorites. Is that right? Has the line moved, or is it still 12.5?
I believe last I looked it was 12.5, but I can look right now while we're talking.
Take a quick look, which is absolutely insane. It's surreal, borderline wildest dreams land, like how good this football team is, and everybody knows it. Peter Schrager at the beginning of the season, 12.5, and then again today, calling this team a freight train, calling Josh Allen a freight train. Nobody wants to play them. As much as teams are going to try to step up and give the Buffalo Bills their best game that they can possibly give, it's just not enough. I said that the only team that can beat the Buffalo Bills, I said it 2 weeks ago, is the Buffalo Bills, and we see that. We've seen that this year. The times when the Bills haven't played well, it's because they're doing it to themselves. It's not because any team has figured something out, found something out, or found a hitch in the giddy up and forced it on this Bills football team, whether offensively or defensively. It's generally the Bills making Josh Allen trying to dirt a ball, gets intercepted. I couldn't believe that. It's like, that's a mistake, but it is what it is. And for him, to your point, I have a crappy feeling about the way that I played. Uh-oh.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, like, you remember he played against Miami. I think it was last season when I think we won the game, damn near whitewashed them. Like, we damn near, I think it was almost, they didn't score at all, maybe. Or if they did, it was like 3 points or 7 points. And he was sitting on the sideline like he was pissed off because he didn't play the best game, but we blew him out.
Right.
That's our quarterback, man. Like, we won the game by double digits, and now he's sitting there, and the first presser, he's talking about how he didn't play well and how he was disappointed in himself. The Jets don't want to be that team, man. And I love Sauce. I think Josh spoke highly about Sauce today. Unfortunately, he's about to cover the best receiver in the league, and the best quarterback is going to be throwing it to him. And that's just not the game that you want to be playing, or is not the game that you want to be prepping for when you play in New York City, because those papers are going to be brutal come Monday morning.
I'm going to start throwing up just some stat lines and predictions. Why don't you jump into yours real quick?
I think the Buffalo Bills are going to win this game. I think they're going to cover the spread very, very easily. I'm going to give the Buffalo Bills, let's say 38-10.
Oh, nice. That's a blowout and a half. Hang on your let me catch up. Hang on your Josh on stat line. Bill W says 27-35. So I'm guessing the Bills 35-27, right? Josh on 395, 3 touchdowns and 1 rushing touchdown. Daryl Fletcher, our guy, says Josh 320 passing, 2 touchdowns. He actually has 3 touchdowns, 2 passing, 1 rushing. 38-13 Bills.
I like that score, dude. I like that score.
I like that score. Chris Jenke 24-13 Bills. Chris has a little bit of a maybe closer game, a little bit more nervous. So 2 possession game still. Jets are good defense, but the Bills are just as good on D. Jets score a garbage TD late. Oh, I guess it won't be necessarily a nail biter. John DeFazio says,
I think their defense is good. I just don't think it's as good as what we're giving them credit to be, and not just us as Bills fans. I'm saying in general around the league. Again, the record looks like they're a decent team, and their defense is, I think, is solid. They have a good defensive line. Sauce Gardner, I just said it. He's an amazing cornerback. Mm-hmm. But go and look at the guys they faced, man. Like they even though Aaron Rodgers was one of those guys, who was Aaron throwing to that game?
Nobody.
So I'm just saying you have to add context, and I get to watch all the Jets games now. I do a show called The Chop Up with Antoine Staley, who's the beat reporter for the New York Jets, and because of that, I got to be prepared when I'm talking crap to him. So I watch all the Jets games, and I'm gonna tell you, it is one of those years for the Jets where it just seems like balls are bouncing their way.
Right.
Literally every game, there's something that happens, and it's just like, oh, same thing with the Giants. Like when you watch the Giants game, nobody thinks the Giants are like dominating team. Nobody, like when you look at power rankings, it's clear that they're 6-2, but they're not like a threat to win the Super Bowl. That's how the Jets are. So I get being nice and saying that the defense is good. I'm gonna say the defense is okay. I don't think that they're great. I think that they're playing teams and balls are bouncing their way. My bad. Shout out to John. He said Josh is going to have 3 TDs. We're going to win 3 TDs passing, 1 rushing TD, and 0 interceptions. I'm with you. Shout out to my man Buffalo Freddy with the best barbecue in Western New York. If you need a party, a bounce house, anything, holla at my man Buffalo Freddy. Barbecue Freddy. If you go to any Bills games, I don't know if he's doing any more tailgates this year, but if you haven't, you absolutely missed the Sunday night football game. You missed the season or the home opener against the Tennessee Titans. You missed the game against the Pittsburgh Steelers. He has been showing us all how to tailgate, and he's been doing the damn thing. He say 24-17 Bills, Josh, 265 passing, 40 rushing, 2 touchdowns, and 2 turnovers. You know what? I'm about to block you.
All that good stuff finishes with I'm about to block
stuff for you talking that stuff about Josh. Get out of here, Buffalo Freddy. Shout out to Sarah, the co-host to 3-Man Rush. She says 379 passing for Josh, 4 total touchdowns, score 44-17. That's what I'm talking about. Ed, my man Ed. Bills 38-14. I like that score.
Yep. Oh, David Reed, sorry, 34-13 Buffalo Bills. Well, we got Ed Albrigo says Josh 350 passing, 4 passing touchdowns, motor for a rushing touchdown. Well, that's 35 points right there. Who else we got up in here? So you guys are bringing it today. So John DeFazio with the super chat actually corrects what he said. He said meant 26 for 33, 355 yards, 4 touchdowns. Bills 34-10. Sarah Larson with another one in there. Did she change it? I don't think she changed it.
I don't know, but I'm shocked that she changed it to 41-13. But I'm really shocked at my man Dan. Like, what is happening, dude? He says he likes to keep expectations low and then be pleasantly surprised on game day. That's fine, but don't put that negativity on this. What are you doing? Shout out to Buffalo Freddy. That's my man. The real Chris Jenke says 75-3.
I like it. Daniel Gowries 34-9, which is awesome. And then we got one more, which is Andrew Solomon, and there'll be a couple more. So what do you got for a stat line? 38-6, Andrew says, by the way. What do you got for stat line for Josh for this weekend?
I'm gonna go Josh Allen's gonna have about 320 yards passing. He's gonna have 3 touchdowns through the air, 1 on the ground. I think he's a little disappointed that he didn't get in on that 13-yard scramble, or I think it was like a 15-yard scramble on that 3rd and 12 or whatever. So I think he's gonna try to get into the end zone this week. But I think we're also gonna, I don't want to say force feed, but I think we're gonna really try to get our new running back a touchdown.
Yeah.
So I think we're gonna see him get involved in the offense a little bit more than we expect, even though he isn't fully up to speed with it.
Yeah, that 13-yard run, just to give you just something to laugh about before we get back into the predictions and I give you mine. It was coming towards me, so it happened right below me, and he bounces outside the pocket, breaks the pocket, and like gives that look like he's about to run. And I look down and I see where the Packers defensive players are, and I start yelling, "Don't run! Don't run!" He takes off, jukes that guy, like breaks that dude's ankles, and ends up down at the 1 or 2 yard line or wherever he was. And like the dude sitting next to me, he's like, "Don't run, huh?" I was like, I just was afraid that it wasn't. Oh, forget it,
dude. There was a dude sitting behind me that he was awful, man. And I love Bills fans, but this guy was awful. He was like, "Oh my God!" Now this is at the point in the first half where the Bills were up 14-0, and Josh just threw a touchdown to Stephon Diggs, and he's like, "It's still one of his worst days ever. He's only throwing for like 50-yard completion, and that's after we had 4 drops at that point."
Right.
And I'm just like, "Are you?" I literally turned around. I'm like, "Dude, are you kidding me?" He threw a touchdown to Diggs, and I'm like, "Are you still upset?" And he's like, "Well, no. I mean, we're winning, but we got." I'm like, "Dude, relax, man."
Yep. Every game should be 100-0. The other team should never gain a yard. We should never have an incompletion. Yeah, exactly. Brian Bauer's our guy. Brian Double B says 40-6 Bills. Carl Tommen, I'm thinking is how that's pronounced. Bills with 3 interceptions, and Josh wears a baseball cap for the entire 4th quarter, and the Bills roll 41-12. This can't be right. 199-0. John Herring.
I'm with you, John.
You guys, man. I'm loving the energy.
Break the scoreboard.
Maston Park says 31-13 Bills. Josh 23-33. That's the second time we've seen that, right? 33 attempts at least. 325, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Chris Jenke says I predict at least 2 interceptions by the defense. Zach Wilson will be under constant pressure, and he doesn't handle it well this season. So for me, just got a super chat. And then I'll do mine and we'll get out of here. John DeFazio, everyone needs to give these 2 guys love. You both got so many through COVID, and I have been your fan ever since. Oh, he's talking about us. You and I have got so many people through COVID, and you've been our fan ever since. We will connect at a home game. Yes, let's make that freaking happen. Yes, we love all of you guys. We love the interaction. We love the Bills fans. You guys are the reason that we do this, and that's legit the reason. And those of you that have met us, I think would probably.
I do it for a check, but at the same time. No, I'm joking. I'm with you, Joe. Thank you, John, and everybody who listens every single week that tunes in, and literally everybody. Just shout out to, because it pretty much for the most part, man, the crew that's in here with us is the same crew, and they're very supportive. They come out to the Hump Day live events that we have. They come out to the Megapod events when we drop in the beer. Shout out to the Buffalo Rumblings beer. If you haven't got it, I think there's a new stock out. I think some people can go and get some if you want in Buffalo. So shout out to the Buffalo Rumblings. But no, shout out to everybody, man. I love y'all. Y'all family. Y'all family.
Yeah. So my score prediction for the Buffalo Bills this weekend, I'm going to go 38. So 5 touchdowns and a field goal. I'm going to go 38, probably like 15, 38, 16, something kind of weird and just kind of strange because I don't think they're going to have much success. Josh Allen, I think Josh Allen has himself a day. I think the weather's going to be warm in New York this weekend. It's going to be warm here in Buffalo, 72 degrees this weekend. I think Josh Allen's probably going to throw for probably upwards of 380. To your point, making up for last week, I think he throws 3 touchdowns, maybe adds one on the ground. I like your Nyneim Hines touchdown call. I like that a lot. So, and he might have a pick. Josh is just, it happens. It's not that big of a deal. So yeah, if we're going to throw the ball that much, it might happen. So we'll see.
I'm gonna tell you though, I'm really hoping that weather holds up, because right now it's saying that it's supposed to be 74 degrees Sunday. I'm gonna just tell you, I hope that holds up. Yeah. If for nobody else, for me. Like, I need that weather to hold up.
You're going to the game.
Absolutely. Boys is credentialed these days, Joe.
Nice. I didn't realize you were going to the game. That's freaking awesome.
We out here. We credentialed. We're gonna be in the press box. How about that?
This weekend?
Amen. Hallelujah.
Somebody asked me this past weekend at the tailgate, 2 different people, 2 different times. They were not together. Asked me, both of them said, Are you going to be in the press box for this game? I'm like, I don't think they take too kindly to people cheering in the press box.
Yeah, you cannot cheer in the press box, so that's not a good look. But
yeah,
I might not be in the press box. I might sit in the stands for that reason. But afterwards, I'll be with the media asking questions, and hopefully I can get a couple in for Buffalo Rumblings.
That's awesome. Amazing. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you have been tuned into the Hump Day Hotline on the Buffalo Rumblings Vidcast Network, brought to you by Picasso's Pizza. So good to have every single one of you. It's Hump Day, or it was
Hump Day.
Hump Day. Hump, hump, hump. Hump that like. So do us a favor, jump on that like button, subscribe, all that good stuff. We appreciate every single one of you. My name is Joe Miller. You can find me on Twitter, Joe Miller Wired. That is Jay Spence the King. Jay, any final comments?
No, go Bills.
Go Bills. We'll talk to all of you guys later. Yeah, what he said. Go Bills.
Go Bills.